Hello, 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 and welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is bipcot.org. We're also protected by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action and is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything we say here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical.
We're talking about Minecraft.
Yeah. Minecraft.
All just
It's
the event of something perhaps similar occurring, this would be the solution.
Just in case other people start the shit.
It's all Skyrim mods. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Skyrim mods.
Fucking Elder Scrolls.
Or Fallout, I suppose, which is really just a reskin Skyrim, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Although now it might actually be released finished now that Microsoft bought
Bethesda.
Yeah. So at least it'll be a complete game when it comes out now.
Don't bet on it. They'll be patching it for years.
They'll still be patching it, just constant. Yeah, and it'll be tiny patches and every single freaking day.
Yeah.
Just like the Float app.
I don't have it, so I don't know.
That game is my husband's fucking mistress. I hate that fucking game.
Tell him it's your favorite game. He'll stop liking it.
No, he won't.
He'll expect her to play with her.
Yeah. We've been together for 15 years. He's fucking on to all my tricks by now.
Damn it, there's no way to try any kind of reverse psychology anymore.
No, that ship has sailed.
He's a tricky hobbit.
I always laugh to Lindsay that, like, if she ever tried go ahead, I don't care, and, like, I dare you, I'd be like, okay, cool, and then I'm gonna go do it, because, well, you said so.
Yeah.
I don't play that game. If you say so, I'm doing it now.
Yeah, see, I've been raising boys for 18 years, so I don't fucking do that shit. Because it never works out how I think it's gonna fucking work out.
Hey, Mom said it's okay. Peace.
Yeah.
Later.
Yeah.
Go ahead, see what happens. Cool. So it's an experiment. All right, bye.
Yeah.
Exactly. My mom would say, "Go ask your dad." Never go ask dad.
Never turn around and do that because you know where that's going.
Yeah.
Well, see, my mom
in
did
this
the same
house,
thing.
Dad just comes right back to me, and he's like, "They came and asked me, and I told them I had to ask you." But see, so every once in a while I do it anyways. Go ask your dad, just to remind them who's really in control around here.
The dogs are. We know.
No.
It's hard to argue with those three. There.
Yeah.
My mom was one of those chronic. Just go ask your father. Go ask your father. And
Yeah.
usually, what Dad would say is, is it a good chance you're gonna get hurt? No. Okay.
My dad would say, "Is it okay with your mom?"
Yeah, that's what Kevin says.
What'd your mom say? She said she didn't care. Okay, then.
Yeah.
And then, like 7 or 8 times out of 10, if you said, "Oh, Mom said she didn't care," my dad would be like, "You probably shouldn't do it."
Yeah. Well, so for a while, the boys tried doing that where Kevin would be like, "What did your mom say?" And they'd be like, "She said it was okay." And then he would let them do it. And I was like, "What the fuck? They didn't even ask me." And I was like, if I said it was okay,
that's what happens when you raise little anarchists.
I know. I had to tell him, I was like, if they said, if I said that it was okay, why the fuck are they asking you?
Yeah, why would they be asking you?
They're asking you to do an end run around me. So now he always checks with me.
What did you say? I told them no. Aha, liars.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I told him I didn't fucking want to deal with it. So it's on you. Command decision time.
That's a trap.
He doesn't like it when I do that. He really doesn't fucking like it when I leave it up to him.
No, because he's a smart man.
And he's wrong either way.
What is the right answer?
Yeah.
Panic.
Yes.
That's why my mom always told me if a woman ever asks you, do you think I look fat in this? Just turn and run away screaming. Just
Yeah.
immediately. Because no matter what you say, you're wrong.
Yeah.
So just run screaming.
She wouldn't ask if she hadn't already convinced herself of the answer.
Mhm.
Yep.
Exactly.
And you know what that answer is if she asks.
Yeah.
So she was like, no, just run away screaming. In fact, if there's a window you can conveniently jump through while screaming, do that.
See, I don't even ask Kevin if I look fat and stuff because he'll take the worst pictures of me, like pictures from behind. Who fucking does that to a woman? Who takes a picture of her from behind without her fucking knowing about it? And he'll take like the worst pictures of me ever. And it'll be like, I love this. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, like, how do you love this? Like every fucking dimple. Like, I don't understand how you found literally the worst lighting in the fucking world to take this picture. And why you still fucking love this picture. So I don't trust him anymore with how I look. Yeah.
And it's
He
timed
doesn't
perfectly, so you're like half turned around going, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is such a great picture of you. What?
It looks like I'm having a fucking stroke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I look like a beluga whale who's just been hit in the head with a boat. What are you?
Hibernating bear mid growl.
Yeah. Or like I never knew you had a thing for fucking cellulite. Like you're gonna take a picture of me like that and then fucking keep it on your phone. What kind of monster are you?
Hey,
I'm
different strokes for different strokes.
sure he does it just to fuck with the NSA guys.
Yeah. No, he does it because he still sees me the way that I was when we met, when I was like 24. And you guys saw the picture because I met him 4 months after that picture was taken. The Halloween costume picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he still sees me like that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I can understand that because, I mean, my wife's had 2 kids and she doesn't look the same as she did 10 years ago when we met, but that's how I see her.
Right. Because you love her.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm single because I've always been ugly. So
You are not ugly.
Well,
Oh my
I've
God.
always been ugly too, but somehow I managed to get her to follow me around.
See, I just get lucky, and I just find the girls with enough daddy issues that it all works out well. So doesn't matter that I'm ugly. You just got to make sure that self-esteem is low enough.
Sorry, guys, can't relate. I always had lots of options. So, you know.
Although where things are getting weird now is like if I talk to somebody who's like 21 and they mention, oh, by the way, I was born in 1999.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, okay, now you made it weird. Now you had to make it weird and you ruined it.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. You were born the year I graduated from fucking high school. Yeah.
Just a few years before.
One of our mutual friends, whose name I will not use. I'm the same age as her dad.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that narrows the list down because I know, yeah.
Yeah, it does. Like, it's not hard to figure out.
Yeah.
It's extremely awkward, and I feel really weird reacting to her picture sometime, and I'm just like, this is so fucking cringe. But it's not cringe, but I feel cringe, but I still feel obligated to react.
You feel how Biden should feel whenever he's on stage with children?
Biden is a fucking pedo, and he chooses to do that.
I said how he should feel, not how he does.
How he should feel.
Yeah.
How he should feel.
Yeah, it was just
You see that the quote from Biden about packing the Supreme Court.
Grocery shelf.
that
Oh,
you
packing
don't
the Supreme Court?
you don't
Yeah.
deserve to know.
No, he said the
His
voters don't deserve
position.
to know his position
On
packing
stacking the
the
court.
Like,
Yeah.
wow.
That
You
takes
know,
some balls.
These
you
people
Or
have to
some
could not
elect-
be.
You have to elect him to find
Yeah,
out.
or some dementia. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean these people could not
He's just
be
trying
any
to
more
cover the
privileged.
fact that he can't even remember what his
Yeah,
position was.
What is my position? Where's Larry? Somebody find Larry.
Where's my campaign manager?
Yeah, I need my papers. What is my position on this?
Where's my puppeteer? I need my puppeteer.
Yeah.
What's
Can
your
it-
position? What's your position on this? I think Howdy Doody's on tonight.
Yeah.
Joe, are you okay?
God.
Oh, okay. I don't know where to start, you guys. Where do we want to start?
Let's just start with
we
your
really
first
need-
link.
We need the Jeopardy theme going here.
Yeah.
All right, let's start from the first one, I guess. Lobbying. Like, we are all just such huge fans of lobbyists, right?
Oh yeah.
Total fans of
Massive.
lobbyists.
Massive.
Oh, yeah.
I love lobbyists. In fact, I have small stuffed animals of lobbyists that I keep around the house.
Do they have
You
nooses?
stick pens in them?
Do they have nooses?
Yeah, they we hang them up for Christmas from the tree. It's not really
Yeah.
a Christmas tree, it's more like an oak tree, but
Yeah.
All right. Lobbying in the first quarter topped a record 938 million.
almost $1 billion.
But lobbyists say that their profession is misunderstood.
Oh.
I was just See, I was under the impression that your entire job was to manipulate government to protect giant corporate interests at the detriment of everyone else, regardless, and you had no soul. But apparently I was incorrect this whole time.
Yeah,
my impression was that their job was to play quid pro quo to buy extra political influence for people who can afford it by buttering up fucking people in government who they'll then give cushy jobs to when they get out of government.
Yeah,
I'll
but
just come right out and say
we've-
it. My thought was they were all paying this shit out in bribes.
No,
yeah.
we're all misunderstanding. They need to set us straight here.
Right. Okay.
in the first quarter of 2020, the total amount spent on lobbying, about 938 million, reached the highest on record according to the Center for Responsive Politics. At least 3,200 companies, trade associations, and other groups reported trying to influence the government's response to the pandemic. Many of the biggest spenders, according to the CRP data, also received substantial relief from the CARES Act.
No.
Oh,
What?
surprise. Surprise.
What?
The health sector,
I don't
which
believe
spent
it.
about 168 million on lobbying efforts, received 150 billion in coronavirus aid.
You don't fucking say. It's
The air-
almost like politicians can't give themselves
Just-
that money, so they give it to their buddies, and then it funnels back to them in campaign contributions.
That just sounds like crazy talk. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be corrupt. Our government would never do that.
Right.
Like it's some sort of revolving door, maybe?
Yeah.
Just around and
Yeah.
I seem to have heard something about that in regards to lobbying and government.
Or like just like a legal way to launder money. I mean,
The airline industry, which spent 29 million on lobbying, received 32 billion in relief aid.
yeah. Boy, that's a hell of an investment. I don't know
Right?
any other
That's an R-
returns.
Yeah, I mean that's the only other thing I know of that has that kind of return, and it's certainly not guaranteed, is the fucking lottery.
Yeah.
And
Right.
agribusiness, AGRI business, which
Right.
spent 38 million, received 19 billion in aid.
Yeah, and keep in mind that you'll get all the fucking time from farmers. You will get them welfare whores and they completely, and then you'll be like, well, wait, didn't you just get like $100,000 in like a check
and
from the
farm
government
subsidies.
for subsidies? Well, that's different. That's for American businesses.
Uh-huh.
Quote, if you don't have a strategy to deal with Washington today, I don't care if you're a small business, a medium-sized business, or a large business. If you don't have a government affairs strategy, you are going to be left behind, says Paul Miller, a veteran lobbyist and partner at Miller Weinhold Capital Strategies.
That is horrifying.
Yeah.
Isn't it? But your vote totally matters.
Oh, absolutely. Your vote totally matters.
It's like, how are you so fucking tone deaf that you say some shit like that to basically the American people trying to explain what it is you do as a defense when like everybody's just being left behind.
It gets better. It gets better. I promise. All right.
I hate it when you say that.
I hate that. I hate
Yeah.
that every time.
The pandemic is a perfect example of that. If you don't have somebody here with the relationship to speak for you, well, then you likely didn't get what you wanted or need to help yourself.
Yeah. People really need to listen to that and really think about it.
Yeah, put that in your brain for a moment and marinate on the idea that what he literally just said was, unless you are here working hand in hand with government behind closed doors, screw you.
Yes.
Right.
Unless you have millions and millions of dollars that you have at your disposal to kick around and hand over to these politicians, they don't care what you say.
Yep. And he also just admitted that all these government policies and fucking packages and all this spending and everything is completely fucking dependent on who can pay them the most to do it.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with science, facts, figures, anything.
Yes. The lobbying industry is arguably the U.S. government's oldest profession and is protected by the First Amendment. Yet
I thought capital whores was the oldest profession.
Well, that's what lobbyists are. That's why I laughed so hard.
That's what they are. Yeah.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
They just do it with their handshake instead of.
Well, lobbyists are kind of like.
Well, I guess that's a handshake.
Lobbyists are like
shaking. Yeah. Yet critics say it undermines the country's democracy by tilting the power to influence policy in favor of those with unlimited financial resources.
Duh.
Isn't that what we've been saying about this for God knows how long?
Yeah, that's fucking literally what it is.
This number is so baffling. 12,000 active lobbyists in Washington, D.C. helped thousands of clients spend over $3.5 billion in 2019.
$3.5 billion buying influence on Capitol Hill.
But think about that just for a second. That because no company is going to spend that kind of money unless the return, the ROI, the return on investment, is in fact going to be worth it.
Yes.
And let me fucking ask the question. Nobody ever seems to consider. I know you guys do, but like other people, what is that money being spent on? What are the lobbyists doing? Like, how does that money get spent to gain political influence? Like,
well, a lot of it goes to campaigning.
Campaigning.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
campaigning, or there have been numerous reports of politicians who have had all expenses paid, vacations,
business
vacations, and all kinds of shit paid for by their lobbyists. And
I mean, consider Bernie Sanders, the man who has never worked for anyone but government ever, and he's a millionaire.
Yep.
He's a millionaire because he decided to actually go back on what he believes in and become a capitalist and write a book.
Right.
But I mean, he was already worth.
Well, no, that that still makes him a commie because he just thinks that he's one of the ruling elite. Like it's always,
Yeah.
you know, do as I say, not as I do.
But I mean, like, how do you wind up? How do you go into a Senate seat with a net worth of like maybe $250,000, $300,000, and yet magically, despite the fact that your salary is only X amount, still manage to come out
174,000 or something like that?
Yeah.
That's like the average.
Yeah, and yet you come out of that job within as little as 4 years with millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then you have the wonderful insider trading clause, where the people in Congress themselves can't do anything as far as insider trading, but they can tell their significant other about, hey, this is going to pass.
Yep.
And then their significant other can make these massive investments and cash in on it.
And not only that, but after then they lose their seat in government, they slide right into one of those cushy lobbyist positions, and they're making 4 or 5 times what they did.
Monsanto and the FDA have an absolute revolving door.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but opensecrets.org. It's literally all it does is talk about lobbying. One of my favorite pages to follow, or one of my favorite sites to visit. And let's see, where was it? I think it's that. Oh no.
I think the average American doesn't know much about lobbying at all. Like, or I don't know how people could know and still have any fucking faith in democracy.
That's the sad thing, is that a ton of these people do. They are aware. There's so many people, like especially on the political left in America, who understand what lobbying is and don't know that they don't like it, and yet are convinced that the way that you stop it is with more government.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So okay,
well, and the right baffles me too, because they're like, oh, lobbyists are the worst thing ever, but they still have so much fucking nationalistic fervor for the fucking system and the way it works. You know, oh, well, have your day in court. Fucking none of this. Just obey and like work through the system. Change the system if you don't like it. Well, fucking no.
All right. Just for shits and giggles, opensecrets.org. I looked them up. 2020. The top 10 spenders so far. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has spent $36,930,000. The National Association of Realtors, $25,432,000. The Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America spent $14,638,000. American Hospital Association, $12,457,000. Blue Cross Blue Shield, 11.3. American Medical Association, 10.8. Facebook, 10 million. Amazon, 9 million.
Where was Blue Cross Blue Shield?
Blue Cross Blue Shield was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the list.
That is a single company. That's not even an association of companies. That is a single fucking insurance company.
And they spent more than the American Medical Association on lobbying.
Yeah. But look at the industries that these groups represent. So the first one was Chamber of Commerce, your business. If you have a business, right? Like business in America, your business, your fucking home, your health.
Yeah.
These things, all you are to them is fucking data. You are a piece of political fucking currency to them.
Open Secrets allows you to sort by industry and all that other stuff. So the pharmaceutical health products industry this year alone has spent $156 million. Electronics manufacturing and equipment, $80 million. Insurance, $80 million. Oil and gas, $58 million. Business association, $55 million. Electric utilities, $55 million. Air transport, $54 million. Blah 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 blah, and it goes on and on and on. And
how much was it that Facebook spent?
Just over 10 million. It was like 10,900,000, or 10,090,000, which for them isn't actually that much.
No, it's not.
But again, I cannot reinforce it enough.
But that's freedom of speech.
The education industry, with kids not in schools and all that good stuff. spent $40 million lobbying in 2020 so far.
Jeez.
But I mean, again, like, and like I said, really can't stress this enough. These are industries that and businesses that are not going to put that kind of investment into political lobbying unless they are getting something of greater value out of it. So what you need to ask yourself is, well, what are they getting out of it?
Yes.
What is
Yeah.
being provided back to them that would say I should spend $500 million on lobbying politicians?
Well,
Right.
when you get a $90 billion new missile contract.
Yeah.
Or when you get laws passed that restrict your competition and make sure that you dominate the marketplace.
Right.
Or you get laws passed that allow you to do something unethical that your competitors weren't previously able to do.
Or laws passed that force every American to fucking buy your product.
Yeah,
Or-
gosh.
or-
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Perfect example is the FDA with tobacco.
Yeah.
Right? Cigarettes are fine. Cigarettes are fine, but what is the war on? Vaping.
Yeah.
Because this right here threatens their money. Because in the end of the 1990s, when all of the big tobacco lawsuits went through, part of the judgments allowed the states to get a bunch of money to tax all of tobacco additionally, and then get money from that. And so they were using that, and it was supposed to be used, according to the judgments, on anti-smoking advertising. But you'll notice that states don't really do that much anymore because they passed their own laws that said, oh, well, we can also use it for all these other things. And then now that everybody's going to this because we're finally winning the war on the cancer sticks, now all of a sudden the states aren't getting the same money that they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so now big tobacco shows up and goes, well, you know, if you made it basically impossible for these companies to exist, then everyone would go back to smoking, and then you'd get all that sweet tax money again.
Right. Yep.
Pleased to meet you. Hope you guessed my name.
Well, it's like that. It's like that post that's been flying around on Facebook now for a couple of months. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We just about put big tobacco out of business, but government got in the way, or whatever it was.
That was from about a year ago. Actually, as of this month, all of the FDA regulations on vaping finally went into effect. So a microcosm of that is I subscribe to Zample Box. So you pay, it's a subscription box. You get 12 30 milliliter bottles of juices. Each one's different every month that are sent to you. Well, because the laws went into effect, and this is how ridiculous these laws are, thanks to big tobacco going after to try and defend Juuls, which kill people still. And they fought in court to prevent being forced to tell people what was even in the juices that people are inhaling that they make. Well, everyone else is perfectly fine with telling everybody, but you have to register not only your formula and tell them your exact formula and register it, but you have to register your labels that are going on it, the entire design, and the bottle size. And every bottle size that it could be packaged in has to be registered separately. And it's almost $250,000 every single one to get it registered. So what's happened now is Zample is having to go to 60 mil bottles, and now they're going to just give you 8 60 mil bottles because nobody bothered with the 30 mils. They're so small. Nobody bothered with those. But now, even though it's the exact same juice with the exact same label, just in a smaller bottle, it doesn't count because it wasn't registered, so they can't sell it. They can only sell it in the bigger bottles. Specifically. And if you change your formula, even a tiny bit, you go, oh, well, this ingredient is hard to get, so I'm going to use a different ingredient. Nope, sorry, you can't.
Redo it.
And you have to re-register the whole fucking register.
All right, Jimmy Williams worked as a lobbyist from 2002 to 2010. Before that, he worked as a legislative staffer for nearly a decade. He said lobbyists were instrumental to his work on Capitol Hill. Even as a lobbyist, he felt that his expertise helped lawmakers who were often inundated and overworked.
So
but he said things changed when he moved from a trade association to K Street. Quote, it was financially rewarding. as I got paid a lot more. But at the same time, I was beginning to figure out that the people didn't give a damn about my knowledge of banking or of the real estate industry. It was all about checks. No one gave a damn about anything other than who I knew and how much it would cost for us to write checks to get into those offices, i.e., campaign donations,
Right.
said Williams, who now lives on the South Carolina farm.
Oh my God.
Hold on. One more. The symbiotic relationship between campaign finance and lobbying is often contested. According to Sheila something, I'm not trying to pronounce that, the CPR executive director, quote, sending an army of lobbyists up to work Capitol Hill to follow the donation is kind of a 1-2 punch. You first give a donation, and you next have the lobbyist pay a call.
Right. And remind the candidate
Yep.
which side their bread is buttered on.
Yep.
But don't worry, the answer to this, everyone, is simply more government. We just need more
Right.
government.
Yep.
So that and additional
All right.
regulators that can be influenced by lobbyists, and then that way we can stop the lobbyists from influencing people.
Oh, here's another number for you, and Derek is gonna flip when I say this, but one study by the Sunlight Foundation examined 14 million records from 2007 to 2012, including on campaign contributions and lobbying expenditures, and found that for every dollar spent, the corporations received $760 from government.
There's your ROI.
God.
A 760% return
ROI.
on investment.
For every dollar spent.
There is no
Jeez.
investment in the world outside of that with that kind of a return.
Unless you bought Bitcoin in like 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember that poor guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin to buy a pizza way back when? That sucks, bro.
Yeah. Is and the rest of us, like, our
And we
fucking
fund it.
investment
We
portfolios.
fucking fund it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
fund it. Yeah. Yeah.
Some of us do. Not all.
But the rest of us, the most we can hope for an investment portfolio, like in our riskiest investments, is like a 15% return.
Oh yeah, I can remember me and some of my buddies I used to work with at the accounting firm I used to work at for one of the partners there. We were when Powerball was at 3.6 billion, something like that. It was like $3.6 billion, and we were talking about it and like how, like whether it was better to get it as an annuity or get it as a lump sum, and discussing how, well, you need at least to be able to guarantee a 10% return on investment in order for the lump sum to not make more sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And like,
I would take the lump sum though, because I don't fucking trust the future.
well, that's the point, is you need the
that, and I won't live 30 more years.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you need that was the point though, is that the lump sum makes more sense because you can invest it all and get a better return.
Yeah,
But I'm saying, like, that was still only 10%. And we were like, that would be fantastic. That's 700+% on return. Oh my God.
Oh,
The last
that's
two
infuriating.
paragraphs of this article piss me off to no end.
We're getting there.
While you guys were talking, I happened to skim across those, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. So for every dollar spent, the corporation received 760 from the government, and this is 2007 to 2012. So you know it's more now.
Well, because of COVID, it's going to have skyrocketed now.
But many in the field say a lobbyist is not what people may think, and instead work as a part educator, part lawyer. The misconceptions about lobbyists is that we quote, we walk around with bags of money and say, vote our way or oppose this. But that's not even close to the truth, says Marcy McSwain, owner of the McSwain Group. Quote, everyone always says, drain the swamp, and that all these lobbyists who've been up here for so long are the worst. We're not working against anyone. We're hoping to work for and improve the lives of people here in the States. We love our country.
The look on Jerica's face right now is exactly what was going through my mind
Yeah, like,
the whole time I read those. I'm like, what the fuck?
You know what? No, I believe that they
someone
love
just
this country.
Pinocchio'd through a fucking wall.
Well, I believe that they love this country because manipulating it has made them extremely fucking wealthy people.
That's about it, too. And that's
Yeah.
the only reason they love
Yep.
this country. On the same level as the rest of us.
Yeah.
They
They don't give a fuck
Well-
about this country except what they can
no.
squeeze out of it for themselves.
yeah, and I mean, not only that, but I mean, like, also consider, yes, there is some element of truth to what he's saying in that they do have to educate lawmakers on things, because remember, most people in Congress are lawyers, and that is it. They have never
Yeah.
done anything else. They do not understand how these businesses that they're legislating on work. Remember, there was a senator who asked Mark Zuckerberg about Twitter.
Yeah.
So
There was a damn congressman who thought the island of Guam was going
yeah,
to
with
It's
capsize.
gonna capsize.
put too many
Yeah. We
chips on.
covered that one a while
Yeah.
ago. That shit was. Yeah.
But I mean, like, these people don't know anything about any of the industries. They don't know anything about. You had Tipper Gore way back in the 90s who chose, of all of the musicians at the time, in the early 90s, the time of glam rock, of all the musicians to attack as vulgar and obscene, she went after Twisted Sister.
What the hell?
She went
Yeah.
after Dee Snider and Twisted Sister because of their name, and didn't pay attention to the fact that they were the one group who never sang about sex. They never sang about actual drugs, and they never swore. They weren't
Yeah.
drinking all the time. I mean, Dee Snider's a freaking Christian.
Yeah.
So, like, that's who they went after, and then he tears her apart in one of the most beautiful
was
testimonies before Congress I've ever seen.
Yes.
It's so beautiful. But I mean, of all the bands to go after, that's the one that she went after, because they understand that little, even about music, a thing that they can turn on their radio, sit there and passively become familiar with.
They could
They
probably ask their fucking kid about it and get a straight answer in 10 minutes or less. But they're so fucking out of touch.
But they have no idea how the real world works and anything. I mean,
Well,
if you
and
never-
neither do they care.
Also, yeah, they don't care. Also, the word education sounds fucking ominous to me in this context, because what they're doing is they're educating these people about what is owed to their campaign contributors. Education could mean fucking anything.
Oh,
well, I mean, and lobbyists, like, the problem is, and really the root issue is that the reason that lobbyists are so dangerous and so awful is that politicians wield that amount of power, that even if you really do just want to protect yourself from government, you need to pay people to call in political favors to keep yourself from being gone after.
Right.
Just like another large empire that rose and collapsed actually relatively rapidly in the mid 20th century that you may have heard of. It's kind of in the center of Europe, and, you know, possibly little pale white. They enjoy blonde hair, blue eyes. You see where I'm going with this. So
Right.
it was the same thing, though, right? You had to have political influence with the Nazi Party in the Third Reich so that they wouldn't come after your business.
Right.
So that you could just keep operating. It was a self-defense thing. And for a lot of businesses, that actually is what lobbying is it's become a necessary thing for self-defense, because if you don't, these idiots are just going to go ahead and legislate you into the ground. Like, and what are you going to do about it if you don't have a lobbyist there? So it's just this increasing thing. You have the revolving door. You have all these things building on top of each other. What is anybody supposed to do? Like, you can't be an honest businessman anymore. You fucking can't.
For shits and giggles, I clicked on the study that was linked, the 1 to 760. Between 2007 2012.
What you do for shits and giggles, Jason, like, I don't know why you always fucking torture yourself for shits and giggles.
Between 2007 2012, 200 of America's most politically active corporations spent a combined $5.8 billion on federal lobbying and campaign contributions. A year-long analysis by the Sunlight Foundation suggests, however, that what they gave pales in comparison to what those same corporations got. 4.4 trillion in federal business and support. That figure more than the 4.3 trillion the federal government paid to the nation's 50 million Social Security recipients over the same period.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Those numbers are big enough that it's hard for me to wrap my head around them.
Yeah.
They spent 5.8 billion.
Right.
Got 4.4 trillion, which is more than the 4.3
That's like
trillion
1,000%.
the
That's
federal
almost
government
1,000%.
paid to Social Security over that same period.
Yeah.
That is $100 billion, give or take.
Yeah.
In difference.
Yeah, that's
it's way more than that.
It's
no, I
insane.
mean between what the businesses got and the amount that they kicked out in Social Security payments, it's about $100 billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
But your vote totally matters, you guys.
Right.
That $20 that you gave to that campaign the other day, that totally made a huge difference to them. They're going to come back and listen to what you have to say.
That change.org petition is totally going to affect government.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, and again,
and your
that's
riots and your Molotov cocktails are definitely going to fucking do it.
Oh yeah, they're definitely the unaimed, just vague, generalized violence thing is definitely working. You keep that one up.
Yeah.
You know what would work?
Because it's not like they have trillions on the fucking line. I mean, how can you ever?
I mean, a return of 760 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a Molotov is totally going to tear that down.
I know, and that's the thing.
Anger really matters to them.
Yeah, these people think, well, but there's a bunch of us standing here with signs and looking pissed off. Yeah, that'll work real well. You know, all this begging and pleading and generalized violence. You know, targeted things though could change things.
We can get to that.
Well, that's a good segue.
We can get to that one. I want to jump on another article first because it kind of goes pair in pair with the lobbying one.
Okay.
And it's got numbers in it also that baffle.
Mm-hmm.
Scary
Boggle the mind.
Scary baffle.
Yeah.
Scary baffle.
Scary baffle.
Well, it's Halloween. It's time for everything to be scary, including baffles, apparently.
Yeah.
$9 trillion in stimulus injections. The Fed's 2020 pump eclipses 2 centuries of U.S. dollar creation.
I think I saw, was it like 19% or something of all?
22%.
22% of all dollars currently existing have been made this year.
Yes.
Yep.
Since September 2019, research shows that the Federal Reserve has pumped $9 trillion to primary dealers by leveraging enormous emergency repo operations. A recently published investigative report shows that the U.S. Central Bank submits daily loan tally, but that the Fed will not provide the public with information concerning the recipients. Estimates say in 2020 alone, the U.S. has created 22% of all U.S. dollars issued since the birth of the nation.
And remember, this is a private bank. This is not like
Andrew Jackson isn't even rolling in his grave anymore. He's like shaking the lid of his coffin, like, you sons of bitches!
No, he's like,
I told you.
No, he's like that fucking, like that drill that they had in Futurama where they went to the center of the fucking
like, we could
cruising through. Where are you going, Andrew? Don't worry about it, Tom.
We just attached him to an alternator and let him spin.
Solve the energy crisis.
Just hook him up to a dynamo and let it go. No, I mean, but I just like, oh no, that's not hyperinflation or anything. Not at all. It's ignore the man behind the curtain. Everything is fine. It's all
fine. What was that, Jason? Emergency what operations? Repo? Is that what you said?
Emergency repo operations.
Yeah, repo operation. They're rebuying.
Yeah.
to help out big corporations and whatnot.
Wait, what? Rebuying what?
Yeah.
What did they sell?
They're
What could they
like,
possibly sell? They're the Federal fucking Reserve.
No,
I'm
they're
assuming-
buying private corporate debt.
Oh.
that's totally not going to be possibly abused by anybody to maybe control private industry or.
That's fucking
How
slick.
do you know?
It's fucking slick.
You perhaps owe us some, a significant amount of money, and it would be a real tragedy if we were to have to call that in. Or you could do as the Pharaoh asks.
Yeah.
A number of people believe that the massive creation of money stemming from the Fed will eventually cause hyperinflation. Shock face.
Eventually, wait.
Eventually,
Like I said, this isn't hyperinflation. Ignore the man behind the curtain. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
I went to go buy a damn soda today from Quick Trip on my way home from my in-laws, and it was like $1 more than it was 6 months ago.
Let's see. The dollar has lost considerable value since the introduction of the central bank in 1913. For instance,
that's 98% is considerable.
The cumulative rate of inflation since 1913 is around 2,525.4%.
This can't be emphasized enough. Since the lame duck holiday session of 1913.
Yes.
When they rammed this through when there was a fucking skeleton crew on the fucking floor of the Capitol.
That means a product purchased for $1 in 1913 would cost $26.25 in October 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you kidding? There's a picture going around that shows a McDonald's menu with prices from 1994 or something, and you could get a Big Mac for like $1.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more number for you, and then we can move on to something else. But last month, the U.S. budget deficit was $864 billion. That's larger than the total debt occurred between 1776 to the end of 1979.
Yeah.
So through both world wars, the Civil War,
the Great Depression,
Vietnam, Korea, the Spanish-American War. Let's just keep counting up the wars here that the U.S. has been involved in.
War of 1812.
War of 1812. Barbary Pirates, yada, yada, yada.
Panama.
And you have to ask yourself, if you don't know the answer to this, fucking look it up for God's sake, please. When you borrow, you provide collateral against your loan. The U.S. government has to provide collateral to the Federal Reserve for these loans. Do you know what that collateral is? That collateral is the value of your life, of what they can tax you for over the span of your life.
Federal Reserve note.
Yeah. You are literally the collateral that the government is using. Their expectation of what they can tax you for over your life.
And the funny thing is it's all Enron accounting,
also known as your social security number.
Yeah, but the funny thing is it's all Enron accounting too, because it's all mark to market, right? They're saying, well, I already have this value because eventually this is what this is going to be worth, because that's what happened to Enron, right? Enron was doing a mark to market accounting where they were saying, well, if I build this power plant, I should be able to just throw the entire future value of what this power plant will bring in onto my books.
Right.
Regardless of if the plant has actually generated that or not, we know that it will, so therefore that's okay. And what happened? Enron imploded because a bunch of those investments didn't pay off the way they had said they would. So suddenly they imploded. What do you think is going to happen to the United States, considering that as of right now there are more people on disability?
Yeah.
And a bunch more boomers setting to retire. And Gen Xers are getting closer and closer to retiring.
There you go. There's that one. That's a silver certificate. That is
nice.
Actual value.
Yeah, it actually says Treasury on it. The Treasury of the United States versus Federal Reserve note.
Yep.
Yeah, the certificate. This certifies that there is an on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America. Yeah.
Well,
the other one is a note, which is a writ of debt.
yeah. So this, yeah, and that goes well with the lobbying thing, because these people, how do you expect them to give even half of a shit about you and what you fucking want and what you need out of this life? All they see you as is a resource to pump against their fucking debt.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you will ever be. That is all you will ever be to them. If you are under the, and the thing is, when I was on, back when I was on Nick's show, well, it was still called Enemy of the State Stink Podstash. That was one of the things that I'd mentioned about how I became an anarchist. And one of the reasons was I'd started to get really, really involved with politics.
Mm-hmm.
I literally had dinner with our former governor and his wife at one point. I got to hang out. I've actually met who is now the first lady of the United States at a dinner. And
so you got into politics.
I got super into politics, right? And as I got super into politics, I started to and I would keep voicing because I was kind of I was a Republican, but I was kind of a libertarian. I was leaning that way. And I'd voice that, and I'd get shut out of things as soon as I said, well, I'm not going to compromise my principles. As soon as I said, well, but I want freedom, I want to try and minimize government influence, I get shut out of those things. And I also went to meetings personally, so people can't deny that they didn't happen because I was there at houses of people who are majorly high up there in the political spectrum, where we specifically, it was by invitation only, where we talked about, well, this is what we know the Democrats are planning, because we have people on the inside and they're saying this is what's going to happen, and making deals and plans and everything else behind closed doors in exclusive invitation only meetings. And it became nothing but that. That was the only thing that I was experiencing, was all these closed door meetings and all this cloak and dagger bullshit. And I realized, oh my God, this is actually how government works.
Yep.
This is actually what's going on.
The shit that they teach you in school is a fucking fairy tale that keeps you quiet and producing tax revenue.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you don't, if you honestly buy the idea that, oh, well, your vote matters. No, it fucking does not. We talked about, we strategized having people move at certain times of the year from one place to another, so they'd be in a different district so they could run in that district as a resident, planning on doing that and using political donations and things to pay for their moves specifically so they could be placed for that.
Right. And we've all seen gerrymandering maps, the fucking
Jesus.
The district that keeps reelecting Nancy Pelosi. It's like she fucking handpicked her voters in her fucking district, so she would just keep getting reelected over and over.
It literally looks like you spilled water on the ground and it just followed the cracks. And just went all over the place.
Yeah, it's the weirdest. It makes no actual sense. And there's no socioeconomic reason for it to be that way.
Right.
At all. It's entirely just so that she keeps getting reelected. But that's the thing, is that you need to realize is that the Federal Reserve is part of this whole orchestrated thing where they don't care. They don't care about you at all. None of what you say has anything to do with anything. And anyone who gets involved in politics, once you get as far in as I managed to get down that fucking rabbit hole, you suddenly realize, holy shit.
Yep. And people think there's still gold in Kentucky.
It's freaking I mean, I couldn't believe, and the only reason that I got carried that far forward was just because of my background, because of who I was, and it didn't matter. And I would say things and people would be like, just shut up, just don't talk about that. Wait until you're elected and then you can talk about that, but until you're elected, don't talk about that. And then you can talk about that in public, but we know what's really going on, so don't worry about it. And I straight up got told that if I wanted a position, if I wanted them to endorse me and I wanted the position and I wanted to go after it, that I had to check my ideology at the door. That is a direct quote from somebody who is still in the state government of Wisconsin.
And then Joe Biden just said that the voters do not deserve his stance on stacking the court. That is so fucking so accidentally honest.
Well,
What he's saying is, you're nothing.
Well,
you get a seat at this table. Fuck off.
You remember he told that factory worker when the factory worker asked him about firearms or something like that, and Joe Biden told him, "I don't work for you."
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep.
So,
Yeah. And then he told
that.
a group of veterans, "Why don't you clap, you dumb sons of bitches?
You stupid bastards."
Stupid bastards. That's what it was. You stupid
and
bastards.
then it wasn't just this past week. He was doing something in Florida, and he said, "Yeah, during the whole COVID shutdown thing, I was able to eat because of some black woman stocking the grocery shelves."
Yeah.
And this is the man that the Democratic Party, the party that is supposed to be for the little guy, the party that's supposed to represent.
They ran a sexist, racist, misogynistic, rich
pedophile.
white guy pedophile, and a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a corrupt cop, like
And
even by cop standards, corrupt cop. That's their the guy who wrote the omnibus crime bill, and a woman who went out of her way to convict people of color for crimes they didn't commit
and to keep them past their release date for free labor.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, like that's that. Yeah. Oh, but no. Don't worry, they care about you. Promise.
Segue 2020.
Yeah.
More people were arrested for cannabis last year than for all violent crimes put together.
Yeah.
This is my shock face.
Yeah. And the taxpayers get to pay for all of that. And so we're literally stolen from to pay the people that oppress us. So
cannabis has been gaining lots of public support over the last decade. The federally illegal plant has been made legal for some type of medical or recreational use in the majority of U.S. states. Currently, 33 states allow for at least some type of medical cannabis use, and 11 allow for adult recreational use. The stigma around the drug has also lessened, with 2/3 of Americans now supporting national legalization. Cannabis was even deemed essential in many states during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, wrap your head around that bullshit.
Yeah. I didn't know that there were 11 states now that had recreational use.
There was I think Vermont just legalized also, so
recreational.
I think they also did or also decriminalized psychedelic.
Was it
psilocybin?
Psilocybin.
What are the states? I mean, does somebody want to pull that? Like, what are actually the states that currently have it? Because I feel like
you
there's
keep going,
few.
Asking for a friend. Where can you go smoke weed for fun?
Out of pure research. I mean, but that's the funny thing, though, is I'm really just so that
I don't do it on my front porch, anyways, and in my
my
car while I'm podcasting.
In my case, though, so that listeners actually just know, because I actually don't. Like, I'm the lone anarchist who doesn't smoke pot ever because I don't like THC.
No, you're not.
Luis.
No, you're not. Luis and...
Oh, yeah. He had that discussion. Yeah. That we were like the two. Like...
He was like, am I the only libertarian that doesn't smoke pot? And I considered commenting yes. But
No, me too. Hashtag me too. No, I also don't.
You got to be on something to think that the Libertarian Party has a chance of winning. So
So for legalized, you have Washington, Oregon, Nevada, California, Colorado, Illinois, Michigan, Maine, Vermont, and Massachusetts. Oh, and DC, and Alaska.
Right.
Medical and decriminalized. It looks like North Dakota, Minnesota, Missouri, New Mexico, Ohio, Virginia, Maryland, New York, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Delaware, and Connecticut.
Virginia decriminalized such a small amount, though.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Cali's up to an ounce.
The way that people fucking have weed just coming out of their ears in Oregon, because I just spent, a couple weeks there with my family. And the way people just have it fucking coming out their ears there, like everybody in Oregon would get fucking felony distribution, intent to distribute charges just from their personal fucking stashes.
Yeah.
If they were here in Virginia.
Oh, yeah, Virginia is like, okay, you can have a one-hitter.
Yeah.
And that's it, man.
So then
That's
they have it also divvied up. We got regular, just medical, where you have Montana, Utah, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma, Iowa, Arkansas, Louisiana, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Florida. Decriminalized, you have Nebraska, Mississippi, and North Carolina added in. And then the places where it's still fully illegal, you
Wisconsin.
have Wisconsin, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Kansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and South Carolina.
Man, all 4 people in Wyoming are going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So, fun fact, Wyoming has half the population of my county.
It's just nothing. It's so little.
Yeah.
But I fucking loved it when I drove through it. That
Oh, it's
state
a
stole
beautiful
my heart.
Oh,
It
it's
is
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Sarah and
Because there's no
Tyson.
people.
Sarah and Tyson send me pictures every other day.
I remember her pictures, and they're just fucking stunning.
They sent me one yesterday or a couple days ago of a young bull moose and a cow moose out in the field out behind their property.
If all you want to do is see moose, you can go to northern Wisconsin for that.
Yeah,
it was one of my least favorite parts of our drive.
Yeah.
Like the road itself, because it's so windy and the altitude, but the Bighorn National Forest area was so fucking beautiful. I could live there the rest of my life and be really fucking happy.
Oh yeah,
it's the top of my list.
Yeah, everybody, every time I see somebody go, well, what are your favorite national parks? Like, if I could only visit one, and I'm like, Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Well, you sure get Yellowstone. Seriously, it's Yellowstone is the only answer.
Glacier.
If you can only go to one, I think Yellowstone because there's so many
Glacier
pieces.
National Park is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, but Yellowstone, and the reason I think Yellowstone tops it, because I've been to both, I think the Yellowstone tops it because it has chunks of geology that exist nowhere else in the world.
Right.
And because of that, I think still takes the
and
cake.
Yellowstone's
foreign tourists though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just went through Glacier National Park on the train, but man, it was the most beautiful country I've ever seen in my life.
But no, so where I was going, there was a point. What I was bringing up, the reason I was bringing up the states, though, is because you'll notice Minnesota is decriminalized, Iowa decriminalized, Illinois legalized, Michigan legalized, and then there's Wisconsin, where this little island where it's still illegal.
Arizona's the same way.
Yeah, and Canada legalized. So
Arizona's
literally
not that
every
Arizona has medical.
Has medical, yeah, but not.
Yeah, they have medical, but
we don't even have that.
Yeah, Wisconsin doesn't even have medical. Literally every state, every single border that we have has it in either completely legalized or decriminalized. And yet Wisconsin remains still going, nope.
You got to get Tony the Tyrant on that.
Well, that was his big campaign promise.
Yeah, that was his big campaign
promise.
That's
the whole reason he got elected in the first fucking place.
Well, no, let's be honest, he got elected because he wasn't the last guy. He wasn't Walker, and that's why he got elected. But
there's an argument to be made that he got elected because Barrett over in Milwaukee goes, "Hey, look, we found these 20,000 ballots."
Yeah, abracadabra.
Guys, I'm getting bored.
Okay, so where I was going with that? Hang on, where I was going with that was.
Most professional podcast ever.
I have a point, god damn it, I promise. Where I was going with that was that Wisconsin is still hyper conservative and still very Trump humpy here, unfortunately. Next door in Michigan, it's pretty left wing, and there are people in Michigan who think that if they could maybe work with people in Wisconsin for things, they could maybe change Michigan despite Whitmer's power grabs and things.
Yeah.
And you know what I was saying earlier about this whole direct action thing?
Yep. We'll get to that.
Well, here are we still waiting? I've given you two beautiful.
I know, but we're in the middle of an article.
There was something else Jason wanted to bring up in this article.
All right.
You interrupted him.
Beautiful segues. Just remember that. I did give you beautiful segues.
Yes, your segues are beautiful.
Segues burn them.
All right.
We burned them because they were too obvious, jackass.
You weren't.
Yeah.
All right.
They were
despite the public support and medical
Low-hanging
use of the
fruit.
drug, cannabis remains federally legal in arresting people who have still who use still seems to be a big priority for criminal enforcement. According to the recently released Uniform Crime Report from the FBI, more people were arrested for cannabis in 2019 than for all violent crimes put together.
That is fucking infuriating.
Yeah, like we did the numbers. We did the numbers on this the other day.
So the government is literally victimizing you or victimizing the people at a greater rate than the people are victimizing each other. So what's the fucking point of government again?
Yeah,
it's supposed to protect you, though. Do you want the warlords to take over?
I would take the warlords over what we have now, honestly.
Yeah. The data from the FBI's report revealed that police arrest 545,602 people for cannabis-related crimes in 2019. That arrest rate is 9% higher than the 495,871 people arrested for violent crimes the same year. And those being arrested for cannabis aren't just for those making money from selling, growing, or manufacturing the drug. They are mostly from people that just use cannabis. The vast majority of those arrests, 92%,
were for possession.
Were for simple possession. 500,395 of those arrested for cannabis were simply found in possession. And we did the numbers yesterday, the other day, and it came out to like 62 people an hour.
Yeah,
so
it was
like literally a person a minute.
No, it was more than that. It was something like I want to say it was like 12 people or something every minute is what it calculated out to. Yeah. Like it was. I was just trying to find it and where we had that conversation, and I'm not finding it. But yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. Like in the time that we've been talking about this, something like 30 people have been arrested.
Just for possessing cannabis.
For possessing, marijuana for their own personal use. For owning a plant that they're going to put into their own bodies.
Yep.
They have been 30 people have been arrested.
For owning dried flowers.
Yeah, 545,602 divided by 365 is 1494.8. So divide that by 24 hours in a day, and you're looking at 62.283 per hour.
Per hour. That is every hour of every day, whether it's noon or midnight.
That's more than a person a minute. Yeah.
That is fucking insane.
It's just absolutely a person a minute.
Well, and they don't even arrest people just for actually having marijuana anymore, because now that CBD is legal, there is a woman here in La Crosse who is currently fighting with the police, who was arrested in Menards, which is a big hardware store thing. She's arrested there, accused of stealing, even though she had a cart full of small stuff. She wasn't stealing. She had a cart full of small stuff. She was arrested because they accused her of stealing. They stripped her to search her in the front of the store. And then when they didn't find anything, they illegally searched her car, found an unopened, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Chillins.
Yeah.
The little CBD, the actual nuggets of CBD that you can smoke, but they're CBD, they're industrial hemp. Yeah, she had one of those unopened, still sealed, and she was arrested for possession of THC because she had an unopened CBD nugget.
Yeah. All right, I got one more number for you. Or I guess it's two more numbers. It's one arrest every 58 seconds for marijuana. And these arrest numbers, right? Every 58 seconds we're talking 62 an hour. 540 something thousand are down 18% from the year before.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck. And the only reason they're down is because of COVID. Because people aren't going outside anymore.
Going anywhere. Yeah.
They're just smoking the stash they have at their house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, my downstairs neighbor definitely is. Holy fuck. Would you open a goddamn window for the love of fucking God? It's not that hard. Jesus Christ. Like,
Andrew
I'm ready
smokes
to
a cigar.
her.
He's got a fan that blows the smoke out the window.
A fan and things. Like I take care of the ventilator. She has this whole porch, and she smokes right up underneath my bedroom, because my bedroom extends over the downstairs front porch. She'll smoke in the back against the back wall, right underneath basically my bed. And she has one window half open at the other end of the porch.
Jeez.
You're fucking retarded. No, open the window all the way. Are you kidding me? No one. There is no human being who is going to stroll by and smell that. If you do that, who is going to care? Not a single fucking one. None of them. Not a one. I have been out back.
But if it bothers you, the smell, if you're a smoker and you don't want to get busted, tell you a little trick we always used in the dorms in college. You take a toilet paper roll and you stuff it full of dryer sheets. And you blow out through that.
You don't even need to
like
do
you
that
did laundry.
It's the 21st fucking century. You can buy a vape pen that does oil specifically, and you can go buy THC oil, and it doesn't even smell when you exhale. I'm about ready to go buy one of those for her, even though they only cost $20. She apparently can't figure them the fuck out. Like, I'm ready to go buy one and be like, here, let me explain how this works. And let me tell you several people that I know that can hook you up. Please, for the love of God, because I'm sick and tired of waking up in the middle of the night because I smell smoke and think that something's burning down.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
I've smelled that for the last 2 weeks because of California fires.
Well, yeah. Actually, our even here, because of the California wildfires, are late in the day. You can't tell if it's cloudy or if it's just so hazy from all of the smoke. And sometimes we actually get the scent of burning wood from the California
wind blows.
But maybe she's just old school because, like, I know that there's all these technologies and all this other shit, but I am always going to smoke flower. Always.
Yep.
Because that's my preference.
You gonna dent a cannon and poke a bunch of holes in it too while you're at it?
You guys think
She
I've
uses
been
an
lighting
apple.
cigarette after cigarette, but this is my one hitter. I've been smoking.
They sell
while
those
we've been
locally,
sitting here.
and I don't
Goes in
even
this little box.
Yeah,
you
I don't
know.
even smoke pot. I actually have one of those. Fun.
Yeah.
Fun fact. It's never been used, but I thought it was neat. I bought one. I'm like, well, if I ever change my mind.
And
I might
after
as well
going to
have it.
Oregon, I've got enough to keep that thing full for the next 3-4 years. Easily.
But no, I mean, like, the funny thing is she's actually younger than me. So I don't think she's just old school. I think she's just an idiot.
You don't have to be old school, but
she's also
I
just
mean, like,
considered this shit. Like,
but I'm definitely old school because, I mean, I remember smoking seedy brown fucking Mexican weed because that's all we could get our hands on.
I have smoked things back when I was actually smoking it because I didn't figure out, like, oh gee, I actually don't like THC. Things that were about half stems. And because I didn't know any better, that I had way overpaid for. Yeah. And I know that now.
Back in my day, we scraped the pipe and smoked it.
Yeah, you would take the screens, man.
Anymore, but
you pull apart your grinder and like scrape every last bit.
Back in my day, we had an eighth of Mexican dirt weed, and we were grateful for it. You kids don't understand.
7%.
Yeah,
7% THC.
It didn't matter that we had to smoke freaking a joint the size of a telephone pole. We were happy with it because at least we had it.
That's right.
Shits with your genetically cloned fucking bullshit and your oil and your shatter.
Purple kush with your crystals all over it. And...
Yeah. You don't know what the struggle is really like. Just to get stoned.
Bob Dylan grew great weed.
We would follow the Grateful Dead around for years trying to get our hands on good LSD. You don't know.
All right,
I only got my hands on good LSD once.
Yeah. Now that we have no good segues, Michigan group plotted to kidnap Michigan
Whose
governor.
fault is that, Jason? Whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that?
Yours for injecting them in the wrong point in the conversation.
I mean,
that's right.
Beautiful fucking art, and you shit on it, and now this is what you get.
Well, you talk too much.
But this little conversation makes for a better segue. Because we are the most professional podcast.
Yes.
Well, I mean, weed is legal in Michigan, so I mean, we could use that.
It's legal. Well, that's what I was saying. Let's redo my segue here. That's what I was saying. Is that Wisconsin is like this weird island of like hyper right conservatism
In the Midwest.
in the upper Midwest, surrounded on every single border by at least a small measure of sanity.
I should totally do the other article now instead of.
So help me.
Rip the Band-Aid off, Jason.
At that point, I'm just gonna send you like one of those little like video picture frames of me just doing a slap motion, and I'm just gonna mail it to you.
All right. Militia group plotted to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, feds say.
Kidnap
Okay.
is kind of a misnomer.
There's an article from the sheriff. The sheriff said that they were citizens arrest.
Yep.
So.
Oh, the sheriffs, the local sheriffs, from what I've heard in Michigan, really don't like Whitmer.
Oh no.
Really don't like her at all.
Factoring her, initial reign of tyranny with the whole COVID shit, I remember she tried to have the state boys show up and physically remove an elected sheriff from office in northern Michigan. And the state boys are like, no.
Yeah, they're like, we don't have we don't even under the actual law, we don't actually have the authority to do that. That would literally actually be a coup.
This brings to mind one of my favorite quotes ever, and it actually was from a politician. Send bachelors, come heavily armed.
Yes, it was. Don't nuke me, bro.
Yeah.
He wrote an op-ed about now is the time to pass an assault weapons ban.
Oh,
the same guy?
I have it bookmarked. I'll send you that one.
Oh Jesus!
Jesus.
Nope, he gets an axe now.
Yeah.
In Minecraft.
In
Minecraft.
The diamond axes. That's what you do.
The pickaxe. Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, the sheriff. All right. Let's just get to this article.
Okay.
I forgot. There it is. The federal government has charged 6 people with conspiracy to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer in an alleged domestic terrorist plot, according to newly unsealed court records. 7 others face state charges brought by Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel. All 13 are in custody, officials said. Members of a militia group purchased weapons, conducted surveillance, and held training and planning meetings, but were foiled in part because the FBI was able to infiltrate the group with informants.
So they were acting just like the state.
Yeah. Plans included kidnapping Whitmer and putting her on trial for treason.
Oh. Because not like they kidnap us and put us on trial all day, every fucking day.
For treason.
Yeah.
It's not like, because of how convoluted the legal code is, the average person doesn't commit, 12 felonies a day?
3.
3 felonies. I think it's up to 4.
Or 3 or 4?
It's like 3 or 4 now, yeah, but yeah, 3 or 4 felonies a day.
3 felonies a day is 21 a week.
So
yeah.
And the thing that pisses me off the most is that their response when they get busted is to just give up.
Yep.
Yes.
They instead of going, try it.
In Minecraft.
Instead of doing that, their response was to immediately give up.
Yes.
But
as we discussed,
we all know they weren't the only ones.
Yeah. As we discussed before in our Telegram chat, this whole thing, like literally centered around one guy who was instigating everything, and then the other people were just kind of like going along, trying to belong, trying to be part of the little tribe, but.
Well,
and Chris and I need to dance around this one a little lightly.
Oh, I'm dancing so hard, or I'm warming up.
Brandenburg v. Ohio.
Yes.
I'm warming up because we're gonna get to some dancing.
Well, not I don't have to because I'm not a fucking. I'm just like the person who stockpiles medical supplies. I'm like anybody who needs help. You know, I got food. I've got medical supplies.
Doctor mom.
Yeah, I got I got my little homestead I'm working on, and that's about it.
Well,
So.
yeah. No,
All right.
not gonna go into it. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, skipping down a few paragraphs. She blamed Donald Trump for stoking distrust and fermenting anger and embodying groups who spread fear and hatred and division.
Fear, hatred, and division is the name of the government's game. That is how they operate.
That. You can't do that because they don't like competition.
Yeah,
That's right.
How dare you do what I do? No, that's me. That's my dick.
Colonel Joseph Gasper, director of the Michigan State Police, who also worked with the federal agents on the investigation, called the case, quote, unprecedented and, quote, one of the largest cases in recent history that involved the Michigan State Police has been involved in. Oh, see, the FBI became aware.
What, 4 people?
Yeah,
13 they arrested.
13 arrested. Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, like the main
12 in Michigan.
The whole thing was the largest. Wow, those people are just lazy as shit, aren't they? That's the largest you've ever. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, it's the largest they've been involved in.
Ah, okay.
Because like, you remember what the Haredi militia or whatever it was. The OKC bomber, like he went to them and they were like, "Oh no, he's talking about killing people. No, we don't want to talk to him anymore." Like they were heavily involved in. But I don't think the state police were involved in that one. Either way, FBI became aware early 2020 through social media that a militia group was quote, discussing the violent overthrow of certain government and law enforcement components and agreed to take violent action according to a sworn affidavit. Members of the groups talked about, quote, murdering tyrants or, quote, taking a sitting governor, according to the affidavit. One of the relevant meetings the FBI monitored was held June 20 in Grand Rapids, the affidavit alleges. Another meeting was held at the home in Luther, Michigan, and in Monmouth.
Well, I mean, politicians don't get tarred and feathered anymore, and it shows.
Yeah. Discussions included using 200 men to, quote, storm the Capitol building in Lansing, kidnap hostages, including Whitmer, and try the governor for treason, according to the affidavit.
Not just try the governor for treason. Where were they going to take her to try her for treason?
To fucking Wisconsin.
To Wisconsin. They were going to bring her to who? Who here was going to do that?
Chris is holding up a patch that says that's a terrible idea. When do we start?
It's to Wisconsin. Who here was going to take part in that? I'm actually curious. Like,
yeah.
Take this.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're listening to the audio version, I'm holding an AKM. So dangerous to go alone. Take this.
The group met
in Minecraft.
The group met for field exercises and training this year, and conducted surveillance of the governor's vacation home on at least 2 occasions in late August and September. They also purchased a high voltage taser and night goggles for use in the kidnapping plot. Members of the plot said they wanted to complete the kidnapping before the November 3rd election.
High voltage taser and night. Okay, you know what, Solid Snake? Why don't you guys go ahead?
One.
We gotta start.
All right, here's this one. This is a quote from a U.S. Attorney Matthew Schneider in the Eastern District of Michigan. Quote, all of us can disagree about politics, but those disagreements should never, ever result in violence. The allegations in this complaint are deeply disturbing. We owe our thanks to the men and women of law enforcement who uncovered this plot and have worked so hard to protect Governor Whitmer.
bill should never result in violence for a man who lives in the United States. That-
Every
Literally-
fucking war ever is
literally how
violence
we
over
formed-
political disagreement.
Literally how we formed this entire fucking country.
Yeah,
in the first
yeah,
place.
that's my entire like. I'm like, oh, there are a number of people by the names of like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Samuel Adams, who may disagree with you.
Yeah.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a
Give
guy
me
with a really
liberty,
big
or I'll go to the
signature.
polls and vote for somebody who will.
Yeah, or I'll vote real hard this time. That isn't
Yeah.
what they said, is it? It's
That's
Jesus.
essentially what he said boils down to.
Oh my
Never.
I mean, the lack of
Every-
obstacle-
Almost every political disagreement involves violence.
Well, that's
You know?
that's literally war. That is literally what war is.
That's every fucking arrest that ever happens. I disagree with the government on this political issue, and you're gonna fucking arrest me because I'm not obeying your political opinion.
Yeah, arrests, wars, riots, all of these things are violence because of political disagreements. That's what they are.
Yes, that's the very fucking nature of them.
Tiananmen Square. Was it-
The more powerful the government gets, the greater the violence as a result of the political disagreement gets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the more severe the violence becomes. Yep.
Yeah, and the
I mean, we got Antifa and Proud Boys clapping each other.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
The illusion that they can control the government.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, look at where we're at. is-
$3.5 billion in fucking lobbying in 1 year, you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no,
Yeah.
no, don't worry. But you should just vote and just take up your political disagreements in the system because I
just
promise.
Just write a strongly worded change.org.
Just fucking kill each other over your insignificant fucking opinions on any of this.
But don't
Well,
dare
and-
attack us.
And
Yeah.
absolutely make sure you pick up that phone and call your congressman because he wants to hear from you.
Oh, fucking yeah! Here in Wisconsin, was that Ron Kind? I think it's Ron Kind.
Yes.
Is constantly running ads about how, well, if you have any issues with dealing with government, please call my office. I would be happy to help.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
But he also, every single ad that he does, it's also somebody who has an issue getting benefits from government. None of
Right.
it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, I'm being harassed because I didn't pay my taxes, or the DNR is saying that I altered a wetland even though it wasn't a real wetland. It was because I had it blocked. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
none of it is.
Or I smoke a plant to help with my pain, and I've been fucking violently kidnapped because of that.
Yeah, my pain, my PTSD.
Commander Harris's eyes just went red.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Lock her in a cage.
So
Yeah.
Andrew, speaking of that whole destroyed a wetland thing,
Mhm.
we just had a case of that here in Monroe County, like I think it was 3 years ago, where a company, there's a culvert goes underneath their driveway into their
Mhm.
into their rock quarry or whatever the hell it was, that got a log stopped up in the culvert and it ended up flooding the cornfield behind it. The log had been there for probably 3 years, and
Mhm.
cleared the
because
log.
it had flooded up for 3 years, the DNR said, "This is now a wetland. You can't move the log."
Yeah. All right.
It's a man-made drainage system that is not functioning properly. Oh, abracadabra. But I mean, that's the thing is like, oh, all of this shit keeps happening, but no one wants to hear it. The senators never want to hear it. They never want to listen to you. They never really fucking care.
They
They'll
never
do
will.
anything about it.
No,
Oh, they
yeah.
never will.
Yeah,
All right.
they
All
never
right.
will. But
More than
don't worry. Don't be violent. No. just vote. Just vote.
Yes.
Can I continue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do I
Fine.
need to?
We're
Do I
gonna
need to?
duct
Do I need to
tape
wait
Andrew's
for another
mouth
segue?
shut.
Do I need to wait for another segue before I continue?
I don't have any other segues for the next part of the article. We're
All right.
article.
Just mute him. Just mute
All
him
right.
for a little bit.
No. You know what? No. I'm Trump and Biden right now. All right. You're just gonna fucking listen to me.
Will you shut up, man?
You know the best part is that's never happened on this podcast ever, but it
No.
happens in a presidential fucking debate.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right. More than a dozen people from several states met in Dublin, Ohio on June 6th and talked about creating a society that followed the U.S. Bill of Rights, in which they could be self-sufficient. After that
fucking
meeting,
pipe
a
dream.
militia group in Michigan was contacted.
So scary. They want to be able to support themselves. Oh no.
But they want it based off magic parchment.
A Michigan militia group was involved, and the plot was called the Wolverine Watchmen. The FBI used confidential informants as part of the investigation and has paid one of them more than $14,000 and paid $8,600 to another.
I just want to point out the Wolverine thing is nothing to do with the Wolverines. It has everything to do with the fact that the Wolverine is the Michigan state animal. Their college mascot is a Wolverine.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion there.
Hashtag go blue. The FBI used confidential. Okay, June 20 meeting was held at Fox's business. Fox is the. I don't want to call him the ringleader, but he's the larger instigator in this whole thing.
Okay. The impetus, the driving force behind it.
Yes.
Held at Fox's business in Grand Rapids in the basement, which was accessed through a trap door hidden under a rug in the main floor.
I mean that's pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, that's kind
I
of
was
cool.
like, dude, that's actually pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Like,
Fox collected all of the attendees' cellular phones in a box and carried them upstairs to prevent any monitoring. Right? Cool beans.
Okay.
But the FBI informant was wearing a hidden recording device. At the meeting, participants discussed plans to attack the Capitol and use Molotov cocktails to attack police.
the lesson here is that what you need is a Faraday box that is the size of a room.
Yeah.
This
Or-
is what you need.
Well, a recording device works inside a Faraday box, but what you need is to fucking pat people down. Don't just trust them that they gave you their only fucking recording device.
OPSEC is
In
not
Minecraft.
just a military term.
In
Yeah,
Minecraft.
I mean, well, I mean, realistically, what you could very, very easily do, and I always bring this up to people, is, one of the easiest ways to take care of those things is you meet in a hot tub.
Yeah.
Yes.
Meet in a hot tub because everything gets submerged. And at that point, your recording device becomes useless because it's in water.
It's really difficult to hide a bug in a swimsuit.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So even
Well,
if you
not
have
mine,
one,
but I'm just saying.
but so if you have a bug, it's not. It's
Keep the boots on, Derek.
What?
I said keep the boots on.
Yeah. You guys liked those boots. I know you did.
everybody liked those. Boots.
Everybody liked those movies.
Everybody liked it.
No, people listening, we will not share the picture.
Yeah, no, the rest of you, screw you. But no, it's-
That meeting in Ohio, there was secretly audio recorded. Garvin suggested shooting up the mayor's vacation home, which he said he would prefer over trying to go to the Capitol Lansing. Fox said the best opportunity to abduct Whitmer would be when she was arriving at or leaving either her personal vacation home or the governor's official summer residence on Mackinac Island. Fox described the plan as, quote, snatch and grab, man. Grab that fucking governor. Just grab the bitch, because at this point, we do that, dude, it's over.
and the funny thing is Mackinac Island is one. It's beautiful. If you've never been there, you
Once-
really should go. But it's very undefended. It's very remote.
Right.
Kidnapped, Whitmer would be moved to, quote, a secure location in Wisconsin for trial.
Oh.
Just every single time I hear it, every time.
Yeah, there you go.
And
are
we
you
talked
gonna-
about this amongst some friends, and for a fact that if Mr. Evers in Madison got wind of that, he would have the National Guard up there combing the North Woods, going through every cabin, burning everything in their path,
Mhm.
trying to find her.
Oh yeah,
Mark-
it would have
Mark's
been. It would have been.
Redcoats.
It would have been a fucking straight up slaughter. It would have looked like 1776 all over again. That's what it would have looked like. And anyone who thinks that
And maybe
Wisconsin-
that's what they wanted.
Mhm.
Maybe that's
I
what
mean,
the guy
it's-
wanted.
Yeah.
I could see
not a
that.
bad plan.
Fox suggested
But-
they get a realtor to help them find the exact location of the vacation home and collect information on the surrounding homes and structures.
Aren't they like the
I'm-
third biggest lobbying group?
Yeah.
Like the National Realtors Association, they're like the third biggest lobbying
We're
group.
gonna talk
Yeah.
to this.
We're gonna talk to them about how to find the governor so we can kidnap her.
It gets better.
This
He
random
also discussed the importance of knowing the layout of the yard, homes, and security. Said they needed to map out the surrounding property and gates, and needed plumbers and electricians to help them read blueprints to refine their strategy. Fox suggested recruiting an engineer and information technology expert, a demo guy, and other quote operators, according to the affidavit.
Oh my God, they're trying to fucking become the Expendables.
Plans included planting a bomb under a nearby bridge to divert law enforcement.
These guys have watched too many fucking movies.
Dude, without going into details, I will say this. There are a significant number of people in movements very similar to these guys who that is exactly what they are. They have seen too many movies, and that's all they've seen. They don't know anything about training. They don't know anything about really truly useful gear. They don't understand tactics. They don't understand OPSEC. They don't understand any of this.
And I bet all of these guys, if you ask them why they never joined the military, they'll say, I would punch anybody who got in my face.
2 of the guys were Marines.
Yeah.
Well, there's your problem.
One
right
of
there.
them,
there's
one
your
of
problem.
Them, one of them was actually discharged on the day that he was arrested for the kidnapping plot.
Oh my God.
But you can totally trust.
I kind of
what
feel
was
sorry
rank
for him
trust?
now.
What was his rank? Lance Corporal.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
E4 fucking mafia.
Yeah.
Which means that when the plot went down, he would have just quietly disappeared and been somewhere else. Oops, sorry guys, was that today?
Yeah.
Shaman motherfucker. We all know.
All right. Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkley, a Republican at a Clark Lake, has clashed repeatedly with Whitmer over the response to the coronavirus pandemic and her use of emergency powers. But he expressed outrage Thursday at the apparent plot. Quote, "A threat against our governor is a threat against us all. We condemn those who plotted against her and our government. They are not patriots. There is no honor in their actions. They are criminals and traitors and should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law."
King George.
I was going to say, I'm going right back to the beginning of this article where we talked about there might be some guys, Jefferson, Hancock, Franklin, who might disagree with that.
Patrick Henry,
House Speaker Lee Chatfield, Republican at a Leverine, quote, "Violence has no place in politics, ever."
War, you dumb son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The continuation
what the fuck
of
is the prison system?
Right?
Yeah. He also said that those that targeted Whitmer and police officers are, quote, un-American, and, quote, "justice will be swift and severe."
No, it's pretty fucking American to want to kidnap and kill tyrants.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's very much so how we got to where we are now. Unfortunately, we've gone way off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
But
yeah, like I can have sympathy for the way these guys are feeling. You know what I mean? Like, because this shit is just not at all what the founders put on paper, even though they were imperfect too. But
and just the idea that anybody would say, "Oh, well, that's un-American."
That's un-American.
Going after tyrants is
violence
un-American.
has no place in politics.
Yeah.
And this is like what? And I don't know what they fucking expect when they spend 12 years pushing the fucking fairy tale that we talked about earlier. The fairy tale of fucking freedom, the fairy tale of the founding and all this, and how America's so free and we have rights. And then they fucking trample all over them and don't expect people to get pissed.
I mean, the funny thing, let's start at the most basic level, right? The Bill of Rights, right? That's supposed to be a restriction on the government's ability to usurp itself on us, right?
Right, to interfere with natural rights.
There is not a single article on the Bill of Rights that is not violated multiple times over.
Constantly. And has been violated for years and years. I mean, decades, hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's, and that's the funny thing is like to say that the United States and the United States of America, that it is not a country where violence and politics go hand in hand is the most disingenuous thing.
There was a thing like 155 or so years ago, like 1961 to 1964, that happened, or 1861 to 1864.
Yeah.
Well, 1865, but yeah.
Yeah, there was a thing that happened over politics, and like there was a lot of violence over politics.
Yeah, I mean, but that isn't even just it. It's remember 1776 to 1789. You have the American Revolution. Not long after that, the War of 1812 to maintain our independence. Not super long
Whiskey
after
Rebellion.
that. Yeah, you have right after that you have the Whiskey Rebellion.
Right.
You have the War of 1812. You have the Mexican-American War, which is where most of the men involved in the American Civil War cut their teeth.
Yeah.
And then you have the American Civil War. And that is just the first 100 years of America's existence.
And then we turned our violence outward on political opponents from other nations.
Yeah, you have the Spanish-American War, World War I, you have
II.
those, World War II, you have
Cuba.
you have Korea, you have Vietnam, you have Panama.
Well, you even skipped over our interference and other stuff in Europe, like the French Revolution and shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
The Pirates of the Barbary Coast.
The Barbary Pirates that we were involved in.
The Crimean Wars in Russia.
Were we really involved in the Crimean War? Because the Crimean War is really World War Zero, so we probably had something to do with it. But it's the Crimean War, by the way. If you've never studied it, I encourage everybody to look into it because seriously, it will blow your mind. That you've never heard of it and really are unfamiliar with it. But yeah, I mean, it's nonstop wars. It's nonstop conflict. It's always been conflict for the United States.
Always been violence.
There was what, 4 or 5 years, I think I've seen that we weren't involved in a conflict somewhere.
And I think the more important point is that fucking politics is violence. That is the only way they achieve their fucking ends.
Yep.
Is violent enforcement. Politics fucking is violence at its fucking core. So don't tell me politics and violence don't fucking go together.
Every 58 seconds, someone was violently arrested for possession of a plant, which is, again, a political issue.
And an arrest is violence.
Yeah, because if you resist, they'll kill you.
Yeah, and just if anybody else did it, it would be kidnapping. And you are, like, physically forcing somebody. That is violence.
Yeah. You cannot delegate rights that you do not yourself possess, which means that if you are not allowed to kidnap and cage somebody over a plant, you cannot
nobody else is
delegate
either.
That right to someone else because you don't have it yourself.
Right.
You can't delegate
away what
something
you don't have. Yeah.
I mean, the founding.
I gotta go in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, the founding document of this country said people said that people not only have the right, they have the duty to remove.
The duty.
Yeah.
To violently remove oppressive forces. They have not the right, the duty. You have an obligation. When in the course of human events, and that's what everyone remembers, the very beginning, right? But what happens in the course of when in the course of human events, a government usurps the right of the people.
Right.
Yep.
You have an obligation to throw them off, and everyone's ignoring this. And of course, that's part of this, but it's also important to remember that what this demonstrates is that if you think that the feds have not infiltrated your special little group, they absolutely fucking have.
All right, let's skip this other article.
The feds are in everything. The second you start to organize anything, they are fucking there.
For accuracy's sake, Derica, tell the listeners what you did when you were in the Navy.
Oh, I was in cryptology.
What? Come on now, give me some juice. You can't just throw a potato at me.
I was a cryptologic technician, maintenance branch, second class at the time I got retired in the Navy. And that involved, I worked with the hardware that the Navy used to encrypt their communications. and encryption for their communications on secure networks and unsecure networks. I don't know if people realize it, but the government has its own fucking internet that is not connected to everybody else's internet.
Yep.
And then Christopher, you're an IT guy.
I'm an IT guy. I was also a signals intelligence analyst for the Air Force. So everything that Derek is talking about is absolutely accurate. The network that the government uses for their private internet it's really funny because you'll have a secured system and a non-secured system stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
And the same wall plate will have a blackjack and a redjack. The redjack is the classified network. The blackjack is the public network.
And just so you guys know, there's a third internet, but I can't tell you which organization has their own fucking internet within the government. I'm sure you can guess, though.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea what you could be referring to at all.
So we're just saying these folks, not me. I'm a UCG. I'm an untrained civilian grunt. Or civilian goofball. I have no military training. But these people, they know what they're talking about.
And I was an end user.
Yeah.
I was an end user of several networks.
And my husband's an intelligence analyst.
Yeah. So when we tell you, no, they've infiltrated it. They know what you're saying. They're listening to you at all times. Trust us when we all say they're listening to you at all fucking times. And
this is why I don't have smart home devices installed in my fucking house.
Yeah. I'm also a bit of an IT guy. Do I have do I have smart home stuff? No. Chris, do you have smart home stuff?
By choice? No.
That should tell you something.
My wife. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that and they're making very little that's not anymore. It's getting more difficult to get your hands on analog versions of stuff. So.
Yeah. So yes. Three of us were former conspirators. All right, so let's talk about conspiracy theories.
So yeah, the government.
It used to be us doing it.
Yeah, we were doing it.
Yeah.
So,
why do you think we're here now, motherfucker?
Yes.
What's like the meme I made the other day with the American flag and then the anarchy ball, the black
radicalized
ball. Who radicalized you? You did.
You did.
Yes, exactly. There is no way to become as ardent and virulent an anarchist as a way through.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, and they ask why I stay in California and blah blah blah. Like, if I didn't live in California, I wouldn't be an anarchist. Like living in California under these laws, under these restrictions, California made me an anarchist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I had grown up in Wyoming, I'd be a fucking rancher or a cowboy or a drunkard. I wouldn't be an anarchist.
Yeah. And you wouldn't even
really
fucking notice. You wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Realistically, if the government hadn't stepped so far out of its bounds on a national scale, none of us would be.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I've said that multiple times where I brought up to like Lindsay, her and I have had conversations where I've been like, the funny thing is, if you look back at even up into the 1880s, 1890s, and early 1900s in the American West, government effectively doesn't exist for the average person in an average day. It has absolutely no bearing on anything that they do or how they do it in any way, shape, or form at all. So they have no reason to become an anarchist because who the hell cares?
And
it's not doing anything.
I always maintain if the U.S. had adhered this entire time to the founding principles and documents, right? If the U.S. had adhered to that this whole time, instead of just like fucking wiping their asses with it like right away, there would be no anarchists anywhere because everywhere else people could point to the U.S. and say, but see, it does work in this one instance. Yeah. Everybody's content. Nobody has anything really to bitch about. Right?
So, well, and that's the birth of anarchism, because don't forget that the classical anarchism, truly classical anarchism, one is very socialist. Is very socialist. But it's also born of the experiences of people under the imperial powers of Europe.
Mhm.
That's where it was born. That's where it was fomented. The idea that, well, I don't want government at all.
Right.
That entire thing happened because of oppressive regimes like the Austro-Hungarian Empire and Napoleon Bonaparte and the Holy Roman Empire and the German Empire and the
Yeah.
Ottoman Empire, the British Empire. These are the things that created even the
Yep.
beginnings of the idea of what we all now hold as our belief system. This is why it exists, is because of government overstep from the beginning. And had America been an exception and proved that what they believed was wrong, that you could have a government that stayed limited and stayed small and stayed out of people's day-to-day lives and
Right.
only cared about day-to-day like security and making
And that
sure
was-
that that's all they did.
Right. And that was like the Enlightenment that brought that about into the more public sphere, the limited government. So what we need now really is we need a new era of like the awakening where it just people let go of the last of their fucking self-delusions
Yep.
about this
Yep.
these authoritarian power structures.
Yep. A conscious
Yep.
revolution.
And there was a
Yeah.
reason why they called it the American experiment. You know,
Right.
because
Yeah, a great
nothing,
experiment.
no idea of that limited of a government as was originally laid out had ever really been put forth. And so they're like, oh, well, let's try this because then, you know, maybe people won't go nuts in a couple hundred years.
And the
Well, yeah.
experiment failed because
Yeah, and it
if
failed.
people have
Miserably.
power,
Yep.
they use it to accumulate more fucking power.
Well,
And the problem
they have
is-
to justify their own existence.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's kind of the problem is that what the founding fathers had hoped and proved, and it was an experiment, right? Because no one had tried it. What the founding fathers had hoped was that if you put forth these ideas that, well, public service is just that, it's service to the public, that you are serving everybody else and that you're working for the best interests of everybody else and it's not about you. If we can do that and we can just keep that, the government can work.
Yeah, but it can't because if people can't be trusted to run their own lives, how the fuck can they be trusted to run other people's lives?
Right.
Well,
and that was the
any
thing.
position, any position where you have power or where there's a perception of power is inevitably going to attract the most toxic people in the
Yes,
world to that position.
Fun,
because
fun
only
fact.
bad people want power over other
Exactly.
people.
I mean,
Yes.
they had to beg and plead, if I remember correctly, with George Washington for his first term.
Yeah.
Oh, they
There-
had, you know, and
There were some that wanted him to be king.
yeah, they
He
actually
had
wanted
to
a king.
trick
They
them
actually
into letting him retire.
Yeah, they also actually had tried to get a king. It was a marquis, not the marquis that you may be thinking of, de Lafayette, who is one of my favorite people from the American Revolution because the dude fucking lied the whole time but still was amazing. Not him. No, it was a different guy in France who they tried to approach, and then they also tried to approach an English nobleman to have him be king. And when he said no, then they decided. But there are two quotes I think are important here. One is from Frank Herbert in Dune. And I posted it on my page, the Inked Anarchist Hootenanny Roundup, the other day. I said, it's all governments suffer a recurring problem. Power attracts pathological personalities. It is not that power corrupts, but that it is magnetic to the corruptible.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's the first one. The other one is from Bill Cooper, and it's you can take a free people, make them into a democracy from whatever they were before, and they will vote themselves into slavery every single time because they are weak. They want the benefits. They want the check from the government. They want the job from the government. They want a car from the government. They want medical care from the government. They want everything from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because when somebody's handing something out and you can convince yourself that it's free, that's
Yep.
what you want. You want the thing that is free.
And
that
because
doesn't require any
being
effort.
adult and responsible is hard.
Mhm.
And if there is somebody who is more responsible for your life than you are, it is easier to just hand it over to them and depend on them.
Yep.
And think
There's-
about those two quotes together.
Yeah.
Corruptible people want power, and it's very easy to get power if
You
people want
promise
free
people
stuff from
free
you,
stuff.
and thus America suddenly makes sense, doesn't
Yep.
it?
Yep.
It's to perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't have anything else. You guys want anything?
Nope.
All right,
Nope.
plug them. Plug your book.
Buy my book.
Link
buy my
in the description.
Yes. Think for yourself. Critical thinking workbook for beginners. For beginners, people. Beginners. Like if you want to
work book, guys.
Yeah.
It's
work
a
You
work
actually
book.
have to want to go through it and do the work yourself.
Work.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
most of it is just a guided journal that will help you think through your own problems. So don't
Remember-
believe the shitty reviews on Amazon. Those people didn't read the fucking description.
Well, and they don't understand.
They lacked critical thinking skills.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
They also don't understand. They don't understand the point of education versus school.
Right.
It isn't
How are
to tell you what to think. In fact, especially when you're talking about logic, it's quite the opposite. It's simply to
Right.
teach you how to.
So how are
think.
your kids doing on it over the last 2 weeks, Chris?
Well, this past week was the first week where I actually had Tommy on it all week.
Okay.
He seemed to get on just fine going through it. Emily is still fighting. She don't want
Yeah.
to do it. She's she's 14-year-old teenage girl. All she has on her mind right now is, oh my God, boys.
Yeah.
So
Well, tell him if he gets all the way through it and gets value from it, I'll send him a copy of my favorite philosopher of his work. I'll send him the Enchiridion of Epictetus.
okay,
So
I'll let him know.
yeah.
That's a Stoic, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna throw him some Stoicism.
Hell
throw
yeah.
in Marcus Aurelius too while you're at it. That's
Well, I'll send him one book.
one book. Well, Chris, when he gets that one, you should also throw Marcus Aurelius in there too.
Yeah.
There's
He's
there's
very
a
good.
bunch. There's a bunch of Stoic books on Gutenberg.org, free book depository. There's
Cool.
a lot of books on
Oh
Stoicism.
man, I just had a
Yep.
train of thought derailment thanks to you, Jason, and I have Andrew to thank for it too.
I'm good
We
at
were
that.
looking at handguns the other day, and they had a Glock Model 40, which is a 10mm long slide.
Mhm.
And I told Andrew if he bought it, I might trade him for something else that I have. And he goes, man, if you tried to carry that, I'd start calling you Gutenberg or Johannes.
Johannes, because you'd be
Print
printing
like a
all the
motherfucker.
time. So further plugs, make sure to check out thebeardstruggle.com. If you want a luxurious beard like I have, and it's incredibly soft and it smells perpetually wonderful, it's tameable, and it's great. You want to use their products? They have night serums, they have morning serums, they have masks, they have washes. They even have an electric beard straightener that can really tame it down. It is fantastic.
God.
So basically, these products make your beard like the ultimate sex toy. Is what I'm getting at.
Exactly. If you want,
Yeah.
and Oud's Virtue, my favorite scent, smells like a combination of apple, cinnamon, and oud wood. It is
Ooh.
pretty much orgasmic unto itself, just in its scent. It is fantastic. It's from their Gold series.
Nice.
But if you want to get it and you want 15% off right out of the gate, so that you can get your hands on that stuff, use the code InkedAnarchist15, all run together, or use the link that we're going to post in the description that will take you right to a page that will give you the discount automatically, so that you just get it and you're golden. But it's Inked Anarchist 15, all run together. Thebeardstruggle.com. Also, don't forget to check out Inked Anarchist Hootenanny Roundup, my page. And of course, Poppins Patches. My boy Dave makes some amazing high quality patches. I cannot say enough good
Let's
things
see.
about.
What Christopher has the Boogaloo. I have the Boogaloo Boys. Ed and Eddie one on my mic cover.
Nice.
Yes, and the Boogaloo Shark glows in the dark, by the way.
Yes, it does.
It glows in the dark. I don't know if the Ed and Eddie one does or not.
No.
All of those of you who got or are about to get in the near future the Joe Jorgensen patches, they're from him. Jason is showing the Save the Children wood chipper.
I still
Patch.
haven't gotten mine. I'm disappointed.
That is also from him. The Modus patch. That is from him. The Space Force Donald
he
Trump
also
one is
he also
from him.
just came out with the girls from Ed, Ed and Eddie, the sisters, and they're dressed up as feds.
Nice.
And if you know the Ed, Ed and Eddie comics, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're all super high quality. They're incredibly well made. They're very detailed.
And he does custom.
Yes, he will take custom orders. You definitely need to check him out. I am so happy that I hit him up the one day after I got the Boogaloo Shark one and went, hey man, like, how'd you like to partner up? Because man, he does amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So
Also, check out Road to Autonomy magazine
and
Jason's
the
gonna link that.
podcast and the podcast
Yeah. and the podcast.
with Jeremy fucking Hingeller, but finally back on the mic.
The Podfather back in the house.
Podfather,
Yeah.
the guy that got me to have enough confidence to even start doing this podcast 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
he's actually he's
three,
the reason
almost
that I
three,
even
Almost
showed
3 years,
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's
first-
3.5.
3.5 years ago, 2017,
Yeah.
something like that.
The first
God, we're
the first-
old. Or I'm old. You're not.
The first podcast that I agreed to do was this one way back when, and the whole reason I agreed to do it is because I listened to his and went, yeah, I can probably do that.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And I'm one of the contributors, one of the content contributors to Road to Autonomy. I'm doing a series on bugging out with a family right now. This month's episode, I covered food. Not in a ton of detail, but like the equipment that you're going to need and things like that. So
yes,
Yeah.
that will also be linked in the description below. It is an e-zine that will be emailed to you.
Yep.
On that
And
note,
we appreciate you guys listening to us
so this,
immensely.
if you're still
Please.
listening, I love you.
Yes.
yes,
We appreciate it. We appreciate the plugs.
If
If you
you're
guys can
still-
share this
Yeah.
with
if you're
people.
still listening, we're dating now because I
Yeah.
love you.
Love you, babe.
I wear a size 10 acre ranch.
Yeah.
Hey, my birthday is next week, man. My birthday is next week. So if you're thinking about buying a 10-acre ranch,
Fucking youngsters, shut up.
I'm gonna be 34. That ain't young.
You're the youngest person on this screen right now.
I know, which is crazy. That's freaking crazy. Hey, I've lived enough life for all three of you.
Jason and I hit 40 this year, so
I still got 5 years to go there. Or I'll 4 in a couple months.
But either way, I do want to thank our listeners though, because you guys make this worth it. Like seeing those.
We're episode this is episode 109,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Like-
our numbers are going up.
Yeah. You guys are
What the
fantastic.
fuck? What is wrong with you?
They love the most professional podcast. That's 3.
I think that's 5. No, that's like 5.
I think that's
Is that 5?
4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 5. Now.
Is that going to go in the description, Jason? How many Derek a snort count?
5 snorts.
We should start keeping track.
We really should probably. But no, we do appreciate you guys. It's freaking amazing, and we love that you guys want to listen to us. And like of all the people that you could spend 2 hours listening to, it's us. Like that is amazing. That means the world to us. That you want to listen to us. And would you?
we don't know why, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't understand why, but you know what?
It's got to be the Andrew rants. That's got to be it. That keeps
That's
me
what
coming back.
it's the Andrew rants and it's Derica's voice.
Oh, it's not my voice.
It's like because Christopher and I got those faces for radio. So it's not us. We're not doing it.
I was
my voice.
blessed.
I sound like a dude. I've always sounded like a dude.
Even though it's husky, so that's attractive to some people. See,
Oh,
yeah.
I guess so.
Different strokes, different folks.
It's the dominatrix. It's the dominatrix.
And my voice strokes, baby.
Hey, after seeing that picture, man, Derek,
Yeah.
That's 30 strokes with the cat and
Yes.
tail.
30 strokes. You're an optimist if you think it's 30.
let's just we fuck like we podcast. All right, we're all over the place.
All over the
Yeah.
place. We have really no idea what we're
So,
doing.
all right, that was too much information for you guys, but
Yeah.
we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.